Nate, normally you'd have been here like 2 minutes later, but now Chiefs and Bills, you ready to go. That's what I like. I like that energy.
I don't have to talk about the Commanders anymore. Great. Perfect.
That's what you walked in here 3:59 ready to go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. I had to see the costume too, because kids, ladies and gentlemen, this man is ready to go to Arrowhead.
I'm telling you,
but they don't play at home this weekend.
I'm just telling you when I was on Fox today, they said dress up like a Chiefs fan. And so this is when I woke up and I was like, this is what I think a Chiefs fan will wear. So
this is a requirement. You had to show up as a.
That's what I put on today.
I think Men in Black would have gone better, but
that's what I wanted to be.
Hey, what can I say? You know,
I was even looking at little fake noisy crickets and the little brain neuralizer. I was ready, and they told me no, I had to be a Chiefs fan. So this is what I decided to go with. This is the perfect place to start. Can you update us on where we are from an injury perspective with the Chiefs? Where are we at with Trey Smith? Isaiah Pacheco's out for this. Right. Jalen Moore, what he got? COVID, the flu. What's going on here? Can you just update us on what's happening?
I'm guessing, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, Jalen Moore and his wife had a newborn baby girl. It was the morning of the Detroit Lions game, and also the same day that Josh Simmons left the team. I imagine. Again, I don't know this to be fact, but I imagine his illness has to do with his newborn child. So, hey, man, take some rest, get some sleep. Hope he's getting sleep in general, and that he'll be with the team. When they fly to Buffalo tomorrow, he's expected to play. That's like the most important thing. Hey, you still have a high quality left tackle, unless something happens with Trey Smith's back in terms of like, hey, the walkthrough, getting on a plane. Obviously, he's going to be a part of the pregame warm-up. If everything goes fine, he should be in the lineup against the Buffalo Bills. It was positive this week that he had practiced each day, Wednesday through today. So we know we're not getting Isaiah Pacheco.
I saw him out there running routes.
Right.
You saw that video?
Yes,
he was running routes.
Doing the offensive
You got to be healthy
drill.
if you catching passes.
Yeah, if you're extending your arms and trying to catch over the shoulder passes. But yeah, I think he'll play. Kareem Hunt will start in place of Isaiah Pacheco. The Chiefs did the wise thing. He did not practice this week. They're just going to let him rest for 2.5 weeks. See if he's available for the game against the Denver Broncos. And yeah, the fact that Xavier Worthy's not on the injury report anymore is a good sign. I know that they've talked about Hollywood Brown dealing with his own illness. He should be ready to go for Sunday's game. I just want to remind the audience too, Carrington, because I don't know if you've said it quite like this, but the Chiefs are still one of the healthiest teams in the NFL as we enter sort of the midway point for this regular season. So even though you're not going to have Isaiah Pacheco, you're entering this game a lot healthier than your opponent in the Buffalo Bills.
Is Elijah Mitchell going to be active for this game? Are they going to just have two running backs?
If I was to represent Elijah Mitchell as his agent, he got to be active. Like, why is my guy on the team if he can't be active, if he can't dress when the starting running back goes down? So the belief is, and I know Andy didn't say a ton today, but the belief is that Elijah Mitchell should be their third down back, just to alleviate some of the mental stuff for Brashard Smith, who again is a rookie. I don't know if the Bills are going to blitz a ton, but you'd rather have the guy that's done it before, even though he hasn't played the season, in Elijah Mitchell. That way Kareem Hunt can focus again on short yardage and obviously being the featured back. But yeah, I think we'll see him. And I was trying to think this earlier today, like if Elijah Mitchell gives you 3 good plays, is it worth it, right? Based on the WAR sort of aspect of this, like the wins above replacement, is that an average player? Well, an average player should give you a few good snaps, especially because, again, hadn't played this year, should be fresh, should be healthy. It's not like it's a playbook issue. Hey, you've had 2 months now to really like understand your role and how you fit within the offense, depending on what your role is. So yes, they should use Elijah Mitchell in a limited capacity in Sunday's game, just to make sure you protect Patrick Mahomes in the backfield, so that we can see, and this is what I'm really fascinated about, is like how the Chiefs try to weaponize Brashard Smith because of his skills, because of his speed, his ability to break tackles, because that has been an area that the Bills have struggled with, is actually tackling the opposing team's running back.
Right now, we're joined in studio by Nate Taylor of ESPN. So let's start with this, focusing on Chiefs and Bills. You have had a front row seat to all of these games.
Yes.
Let's remove the 13-second game because it's just different. Just everything about it. To go from the Chiefs are up, then they're down, then it's tied, and then they win the coin flip. Like, it is a 10-minute wave of emotion that happens in that game. What's your favorite memory aside from the 13-second comeback in the divisional round game?
In that game specifically?
No, just over the course of the 9 games that they played. Because mine is, if you remember, heading into that road divisional game, there was a conversation about Patrick Mahomes in a road playoff game.
Right.
They had all their playoff games at home, which was crazy that he had been in 2 Super Bowls before he played a road playoff game. They then go on the road and win, and you could just see it on Pat's face. He is running off the field.
Happy.
And those fans, I'm telling you, it was like Roger Clemens. They were throwing snowballs at him as he was leaving the field. That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Do you have a memory that stands out to you over the last 9 games between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes?
What the memory that I'm not prisoner of the moment, ladies and gentlemen, but I just want to I want you to understand the schematic nature of what we last saw last year in 4th down, where it was clear to me, and it's clear even in this year's tape, that the Buffalo Bills' best receiver is Khalil Shakur. That is who their best receiver is. He mostly operates from the slot. So, if you're a Chiefs fan, you want to see Trent McDuffie in that matchup on Sunday. I just remind everybody that, there are levels to this. And again, this is the 4th down to maintain possession. You're near midfield. All you need is a field goal to tie the game. You could actually win and go to the Super Bowl if you're the Buffalo Bills to win the game. And it's Joe Brady, who's a very good offensive coordinator, but chooses to use Khalil Shakur in an orbit motion, which allows Trent McDuffie, the Chiefs' best cornerback, to blitz. And it absolutely fooled Joe Brady. It absolutely fooled the offensive line. And once again, Steve Spagnuolo, when you said we needed a play to give us an advantage against the freak that is Josh Allen, waited the entire season to reveal that blitz in that moment. And I'll just never forget being able to talk to Steve Spagnuolo in the locker room after that game. And my question was basically how in the world did you realize you needed to blitz your best player in the secondary to surprise, arguably the second best quarterback in the league? And the Bills could not counteract it because their best receiver was just doing a orbit motion just to see if it's in man, or are they in man or zone? And it's no, actually, he needs to be running down the field trying to catch the pass. So I'll never forget that, where it's well, Nate, when we say, why do coaches matter, especially when the talent is even, when you're trying to go to the Super Bowl, when it's a rematch, tell me why coaching matters. That play specifically just lets you know, oh, that guy has led 2 defenses to the Super Bowl and won, and he's got the strongest argument to be the first coordinator ever to enter the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And this guy's just a above average offensive coordinator. And it's just the offensive coordinator, the head coach, did not help the quarterback. And instead, the upper hand was given to Steve Spagnuolo, who you knew was going to blitz on 4th down. You had to have known he was going to blitz. And yet it still worked in a way that was shocking to everyone, including Josh Allen. So that's probably my favorite memory of the rivalry, other than, and to your point, I want to remind people, I think you said this before, this could be the last time the Chiefs play in this old Highmark, stadium that's been around essentially since Arrowhead. Carrington, for reporters who are in the press box, we actually have to go out into the concourse with the fans in order to get down there to the locker room to interview players and coaches. So Tyler Bass misses the kick. They start throwing snowballs at Patrick Mahomes, and it was like I was walking through a funeral. That's how I'll never forget that either. Okay, the Chiefs are going back to the AFC Championship game, which probably means they're winning it, even though they're going to Baltimore the next week. But just the look of just a cataclysmic, soul-sucking, one of my dearest family members just died, look across everybody's face. And we had to fight through the traffic of fans to be I just want to get down to the visitors' locker room. I'm sorry, your season's over, but they have the better field goal kicker, they have the better quarterback, they have the better head coach. Hey, you guys said it would be different with home field advantage.
It was not different.
It was not different.
It was not different at all. It's funny you said that, what you just said there at the end, because why I am picking Kansas City. In week 2, I thought it was just obvious. Philadelphia's better than Kansas City at this point. Kansas City didn't have Rashee Rice. They didn't have Xavier Worthy. Philadelphia was the better team. They ended up winning that football game. Chiefs had a chance, but the Eagles just made 1 or 2 more plays.
Yes.
I kind of feel like that in this game. The Chiefs are better right now than Buffalo. They are better coaching-wise. They are better on offense. Their defense is better. They are more battle-tested. They've played better teams so far this year.
Yep.
I'm not saying Buffalo can't win this game, and this game will probably come down to the fourth quarter and who can make 1 or 2 plays. But I've seen Buffalo play decent teams this year, and they've lost to every decent team that they have played for the most part this year. I think Kansas City is the better team. I think they are playing better football right now. I got to pick them in this game.
Yeah, I can't disagree. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bills' defense is not what it used to be under the old days with Leslie Frazier. And even with, Sean McDermott as their head coach, they have just not been consistent and reliable. The biggest reason why they won even last week's game in Carolina, and I know the score says that it was a blowout, but I cannot stress enough how bad Andy Dalton was in that game for the Carolina Panthers, because there were so many turnovers that the game really got out of hand. When it comes to the actual depth chart, and this is somewhat similar, Carrington, to what we noticed going into the game against Baltimore, like the Bills' defense is so beat up. And again, the Chiefs' offense is healthy outside of, Isaiah Pacheco, that I have real concerns about. Can the Bills defense hang with the Chiefs, let alone do they have the speed to compete? Again, their starting safeties are Jordan Poyer, who is not in his prime anymore, Cole Bishop, who is by definition a backup. Christian Benford's probably their best offender in the secondary. Terrion Johnson is questionable. He's dealing with his own injury. It's wild that they have so many guys banged up. That the team's primary nickel cornerback in Sunday's game could be Cam Lewis, which, let me just stop you right there. Like, they're beat up on the defensive end. Ed Oliver, their best offensive player, you could argue, is not going to play in this game because he has a left bicep injury that occurred in Carolina. I mean, I'm looking at the injury report. I'm looking at what Elena Getzenberg, our reporter for ESPN.com, who covers the Bills, like, their linebacker, Shaq Thompson, hamstring. Like, they are so beat up to where, how can I see this game getting close unless Josh Allen goes nuclear? And we have not seen a quarterback really do that since probably the second half with Trevor Lawrence. So it's possible, but I would be really surprised unless the Chiefs make their own mistakes, unless they have a bunch of penalties, which we saw in Jacksonville. If you just say the Chiefs are going to play a normal game on offense, that is probably going to be somewhere 30 points or more, and that puts a lot of pressure on the scoreboard for both James Cook and Josh Allen against a defense in Kansas City that has played better over the last month. It's hard to see the talent disparity between both teams and want it to be a close game, because I always want it to be a close game. I always enjoy why this rivalry has mattered and why it's been so good to report on for these past 5 years. But I wish the Bills were a healthier team, and I just want to remind the audience, the Bills are not healthy, in particular on the defensive side of the ball. And even their kicker, Matt Prater, is dealing with a right calf injury. I mean, like, this team is beat up, and they just came back from their bye week. So I think the Chiefs are the favorites for a reason. Vegas has said that. No matter what, sports gambling website you want to choose from, they're the clear favorites. And if Mahomes plays the way he's been playing, good luck to Josh Allen, because they're going to need 35 points to perhaps get out of the game with a victory.
It's also odd to kind of feel this way heading into a game where Buffalo has more rushing yards than any team in the National Football League.
Yeah.
But you also don't really feel afraid of that. James Cook is having a fantastic year. You already know about Josh Allen in short yardage situations, but I'd be surprised if Josh Allen if Cook ran for 100 yards in this game. I would just be surprised. So, like, even in what I would say is Buffalo's best advantage and what separates them offensively, you don't feel like that's going to be a critical wound for the Chiefs. The Chiefs have done a really good job for the last 3 years, whether it's been Christian McCaffrey, whether it's been Derrick Henry, whether it's been Saquon Barkley. Running backs just don't beat the Chiefs like that.
Correct. And even Travis Etienne, who was the best running back statistically at the time when they played the Jaguars, he also did not have a super great game. It was the legs of Trevor Lawrence that unlocked the offense, in particular in the second half for the Jaguars. So we're going to need, Josh Allen to be on his absolute A game. And I understand that in the regular season, that has usually been the case. Josh Allen comes to play, ensures that the game is at least going to be close in the fourth quarter. The issue that the Chiefs might run into when it comes to James Cook is this might be the best offensive line outside of maybe Detroit that the Chiefs have played this season. And so I do want to give the Bills the benefit of the doubt. They could arguably have us say that, hey, we have the better running back and we have the better offensive line in the matchup. Of course, Trey Smith is dealing with the lower back injury, so he's not 100% even if he plays on Sunday. The Bills have not had an issue with their offensive line, and that's been one of the reasons why James Cook has been so successful. It will be pretty remarkable because now I really got to go look back, Carrington. We're now looking at the 2023 schedule. That awful Christmas Day loss to the Vegas Raiders, where it was Zaire White who had 145 rushing yards. That's the last time a running back has truly gashed the Chiefs defense. So we are trending towards several years now of, hey, this is something where if we get to, again, the philosophy is if we get you to third down, you know what's coming. You just don't know what kind of blitz or where Chris Jones is going to line up necessarily, whether it's going to be inside, outside. Hey, Trent McDuffie could be on your outside receiver. He could be in the slot. So there's a number of mixing and matching that you can do in terms of having like the certain cards you want to play on third down. But if the Chiefs get to third down and it's favorable in their hey, 3rd and 6 or more, make sure you contain Josh Allen and see if you can get some pressure to get him home. But at the same time, if there was ever a team, because I thought Jahmyr Gibbs was going to do it. I thought Saquon Barkley was going to do it. I thought, again, Travis Etienne was playing phenomenal until they faced the Chiefs. If James Cook can't do it, then this further cements that the Chiefs have a championship-winning defense because they eliminate one of your possibilities and put much of the onus on the opposing quarterback.
How close or how wide do you think the gap is between Mahomes and Josh Allen? Because we had Danny Parkins on the show earlier.
Oh, I heard.
And this was the thing I would say. If you're talking regular season production, both quarterbacks have had great seasons. I think it's pretty close. Where I think the difference is, I've seen Mahomes in multiple situations. Chiefs down 3, down 4. You got to put a drive together to go score. Yep. And the Chiefs are not 100% in these scenarios. No one is. But there is not
pretty close.
There is not a quarterback in the National Football League, and there are not many quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League that I'd rather have in that scenario than the one that the Chiefs have. The last 2 seasons with Buffalo, they have had the ball with less than 5 minutes to go with the chance to take a lead against the Kansas City Chiefs. Once they had 1st and 10 from the Chiefs' 27-yard line and got one more yard.
That's crazy.
And then had to kick a 47-yard field goal.
Right.
We obviously know what happened. Last year, they got the ball with 3 minutes to go at Arrowhead, down 3. They couldn't get the ball to midfield.
Crazy.
That would never happen with the Chiefs in that scenario. It would never happen.
Yes, and I thought Josh had actually learned a lot by the midseason game last year where he took it upon himself on the 4th and 2, because I think people forget, like, the Chiefs had the best, like, that was the best coverage they had all game. And Josh Allen was like, okay, well, the counterattack to that is I actually need to use my legs and weaponize it in a way to get us down the field. Now, of course, he scored the touchdown. I thought, oh, man, he's really learned something because that is going to be required in the postseason. He chose not to run the ball a ton in that, AFC Championship game last year. The Chiefs obviously were prepared for the short yardage situations when they did want him to be, sort of the lead guy on these quarterback sneaks. Guys, it's not close. It's not close. Again, Carrington, 2 years ago, this man had receivers that couldn't catch a cold, led the league in dropped passes, still got him to the Super Bowl with a offensive weaponry that was limited to 3 players. Travis Kelce, great to have, Hall of Famer. Rashee Rice, a rookie. And Isaiah Pacheco, a second-year player at running back. That's all he had. That's all he could count on. Last year, The man had 4 different left tackles, okay? And his best receiver was once again a rookie who was growing in the second half of the season that the Bills traded away or traded the pick for the rights to Xavier Worthy. And again, had Travis Kelce, which was nice, had Isaiah Pacheco, which was kind of, him coming off the injury. I know Kareem Hunt did really, really well in the AFC Championship game, but again, limited offensive stars next to him. And again, no left tackle. His left tackle was Joe Tooney, and the Bills still couldn't find a way to get consistent pressure. This is the year where we are seeing Josh Allen be put in similar circumstances, okay? He doesn't have to worry about left tackle because Deion Dawkins is great, okay? But outside of the offensive line, hey, bro, it's just you and James. Like, Brendan Bean, they've tried. Again, Khalil Shakur, their best receiver. He all right. Keon Coleman, stop it. Josh Palmer, he not even going to play in this game, ladies and gentlemen. Curtis Samuel, he was kind of a hot commodity a couple years ago in free agency. Hasn't panned out. Elijah Moore, anybody know who he is? Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox are fine tight ends. But
Dalton Kincaid's not the player I thought he was going to be coming out of college.
Correct.
We mentioned that earlier where, a major difference in the offense is the Chiefs took a couple of big swings. You took a big swing on Xavier Worthy. He has panned out. Mm-hmm. You took a big swing on Rashee Rice. It has panned out.
Yep.
Buffalo has done something very similar. Dalton Kincaid was the 25th overall pick, but you'd rather have the other 2 options that Kansas City has, and Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman was the 33rd overall pick. So if you're at the point where you would probably take 3 or 4 pass catching options on Kansas City heading into this matchup before you would take one from Buffalo, that explains why Kansas City right now has the second best offense from a numbers perspective in the league, and how Buffalo, from an offensive perspective, appears to be down kind of across the board.
He's got to put on a cape every Sunday if he's not playing the Carolina Panthers. That being Josh Allen, because again, objectively, I wouldn't pick Khalil Shakur unless he was the 5th option. Again, Travis Kelce, because he's a Hall of Famer. Rashee Rice, because of the dynamic ability he has. Xavier Worthy for speed. I'd even take Hollywood Brown just from a consistent production standpoint. Or you could even argue, hey, if I want a true deep threat, I could go Tyquan Thornton as 4, and then I would pick Shakir as 5. Like that's just where we are. And again, being an MVP candidate, being a star quarterback, being a franchise guy, you got to lift all boats. And some of these boats ain't even worth lifting, but that's the job. Like, you got to make Keon Coleman work, or he's got to get better over the second half of the season. That comes down to leadership. That comes down to the quarterback figuring out how I can utilize him to accentuate his strengths and limit his weaknesses. Again, their big offseason signing was Josh Palmer. They chose Keon Coleman. I want the audience to realize this. They chose Keon Coleman over Xavier Worthy, and Xavier Worthy knows that. So the 2 times he's played the Bills, he's absolutely torched them. He's just got to be a superhero, and he's definitely talented and capable enough to do it. But he's in the same scenario that Mahomes was in just 2 years ago, and as of right now, they're 5-2. But it's not. I don't think it's going to be like it was last year where he just had more options and he himself was playing better. That's why he won the MVP award, because even with a limited offensive talent group around him, he still led them to a lot of wins and he was still spectacular, when it got down to it in the 4th quarter. This year, because of their schedule, they mostly benefited off of it, but they're going to face a lot higher competition starting Sunday and moving forward in the second half of the season.